move on to Midsommar. And so we can move on to rap eventually. One thing at a time, though. So Midsommar, or Midsommar. I guess it's technically just Midsummer, but it's spelled like Midsommar, so it makes me want to say Midsommar. Yeah, it's like spelled. I'll spell it right now. But Midsommar. If both of these movies are like kind of big one word titles. So like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to fit it in here. I'm gonna try so hard. I'm gonna make these smaller. The letters are gonna get increasingly smaller as we go on.
It's okay.
Some. Oh yeah, we got space. R. Close enough.
Oh.
Midsommar. Yeah, that's I think.
Oh, that's summer.
Yeah, no, it is. It's pronounced like that.
Oh,
Midsommar.
Oh.
But it's because of Norwegian and stuff and Swedish or something like that. Yeah. Because that's what this is about, sort of. They go to a Swedish colony, sort of like Amish, but not Amish. Let's get into it. So Midsommar, this is the one that G-Bergs hated. Again, it would be kind of cool if he was here to talk about it, because it's always fun to have varying opinions. But, you know, again, it's okay that he's not here. I'm going to look it up on IMDb, though. Midsommar. Oh, yeah, and Hereditary got 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb, so that's actually pretty close to my rating. Midsommar gets a little lower, I think. And then, yeah, this is 1 year after Hereditary. 7.1, but still pretty good.
This is part 2?
No, it's a completely unrelated film,
okay.
but it's the same director, and it was made a year after. And they're both good. They're both good. I do think Hereditary's a little bit better, but there's some good ideas in this. I kind of get what G-Bergs was saying about it being a bit pretentious. Some of the shots are held like really long, and I feel like they thought some of it was maybe a little cooler than it was. Don't get me wrong, there's some beautiful shots in this, but they do hold them a little long for some of them. This movie's quite a bit longer, not quite a bit, but a fair amount, like a notable amount longer, 20 minutes longer than Hereditary. And Hereditary's already kind of long, with 2 hours and 7 minutes, and this one's 2 hours and 27 minutes. So yeah, it's a little longer. It's a little more to take in. But honestly, I was getting into it towards the end. It really started to get me sucked in towards the end. And again, I don't want to ruin the ending, but I'll set it up. So it starts off with Danny is the main character, and this is what I was saying before with how the storytelling just isn't quite as good. Because they started off with Danny's sister, I think Terry, yes, is texting her some ominous random shit like, the end is coming, I'm coming for mom and dad, the darkness is happening, some shit like that. It wasn't exactly like that. It was something like that, though. And then they're just not responding to Danny's text, and of course Danny's freaking out. And Danny's talking to her boyfriend this whole time, Christian, and we find out that Christian's been on sort of the verge of wanting to break up with Danny, but still hasn't broken up with Danny. And that sort of comes back into it. But again, don't want to ruin too much. But yeah, that they don't show, because we find out that Danny's parents die and that Terry, her sister, killed them and her because she was mentally ill or something like that. But I was a little confused. I actually had to Google it because I obviously they died, but it was just not told great. Like they just like show their bodies there on the bed, and you're like, okay, and there's like a hose, and you're like, okay.
Make you figure it out.
Yeah, and it's just like a little too much. But that's the thing. Hereditary did a similar thing, but they did a better way of doing it. They made it clear, but also cryptic at the same time. So they did what I feel like they did what Midsommar was trying to do better, even though it was the same director. I still think Hereditary did it a bit. But yeah, no, this movie wasn't bad. That's a minor note, sorta. It's still they build tension really well. There's some spooky moments. So So basically, Danny, Christian, and two other dudes, and this Pele is the guy from Sweden that brings them to this Midsummer festival. It's supposed to. It happens every 90 years. It's this community of Swedish people. They all like wear white, and it's like it's a commune, and so they invite them to this festival. Like, oh, it might be fun, And at first it is. They take some mushrooms and they hang out, but eventually we find out that it's not such a nice idealistic commune after all, because they start sacrificing people to the sun and that that kind of thing. So eventually people start dying, and this movie did really not need to be so long. So one way that it could have been cut down is there was a part where they talk about Christian and this other character. They're friends. They came together. One of the other dudes, I forget what his name is. It's not important. They're both writing a thesis for their college class about this commune, which it's an interesting topic. So that makes sense. That's not my problem with it. My problem with it is that they spent too much time on this about them. They're back and forth, and him being mad that he's doing it too. I don't give a shit about that. Get to the customs and the killing and the creepy, get to the oomph. I just do not give a shit about that. Or good character development. I didn't care about that part. But I get why they did it. It's part of it's necessary so that the one guy can try to take pictures of the book he's not supposed to take pictures of and end up dying, sort of spoiler, but obviously these people are dying. That's what's gonna happen in a horror movie. But yeah, so that part maybe not done great in my opinion. But let's see what you're saying here. I already read that part. I love Midsommar, but it does feel a little long. No idea what the 20-minute in the extended edition could be. Oh my god, there's an even longer version. Oh my god. It does not need to be that long, that's for sure. I don't need to watch that version. That's how I sort of feel about the new Justice League, even though I'm sure it's better. I don't want to watch a 4.5-hour movie. I'm sorry. But anyways, this movie is good, but not great. Not as good as Hereditary, for sure. And yeah, they build the creepy well. They do a good job of making the characters assholes and you want to kill them. There's some funny parts that probably weren't meant to be funny, or maybe they were, but I don't think they were, but they made me laugh. So there's one part where they'd be giving the people in this movie drugs all the time, different drugs. They drink this shit. They just drink it. Oh yeah, so they're docile or whatever. Yeah. And at one point, he's like, the Christian, the boyfriend of Danny, is sitting by all the other Swedish people, and he's super dazed, super high, and there's an old man sitting next to him, and he says to the old man, he's like, man, what's going on? And the old man just claps in his face really loud and just stares and laughs, and then he's like, why would you do that? And that made me laugh when he's like, why would you do that? It's like, but it's just the way he said it sort of made me laugh. Yeah. But then there was another part. That part might have been meant to be funny. This part definitely wasn't. But it was funny to me because. And it's so obvious that this was going to happen, but they're still shocked when it happens, of course. They have these old people going up to the top of this mountain, and they already hinted at it before. They're like, what happens when you're 72? Because they said, when you're 1 to 15, you here. When you're 15 to 34, whatever, you're here. And then, and then when you get to 72, that's the last one. What happens when you get to 72? And he says, you die. And then they all jokingly laugh. It's like, I don't think he was fucking joking. And then later on, obviously, this is what's happening with these old people on the mountain. That they're going to fucking jump off and die. And that's what happens. But the funny, obviously, they're like, oh no, what the fuck? And, that part makes sense. And this actually all makes sense. But they have the one guy that falls, the old guy falls. He just breaks his leg. He's not quite dead after the fall. So all the people are like, do a sort of groan like a creepy like all the villagers going at him because he's not dead, and they have a big guy with a hammer come walk up, and I'm like, oh, I fucking know what's gonna happen now. And then of course they smack him in the head with the hammer until he dies. And this made me laugh just because the method, the giant hammer, is just kind of funny to me. Made me chuckle, and it's not real, so it's okay to laugh. Anyways, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I don't want to give away the ending, this one or the, but on it you can sort of compare the endings though without giving anything away. The endings of Hereditary and Midsommar are sort of similar in a way. I don't want to give anything away, so that's why I'll leave it. But I am now going to rate it, I think, and then we're gonna. How could you? I'm just kidding, buddy. I'm having an absolute blast, man. Where this is Friday, and we have gotten down on a Friday.
Oh, I don't think I need anyways.
Yeah, stop getting high then. I'm gonna put on a beat, and I'm gonna write down numbers on this board. Here is the spaghetti instrumental from Patrick Jenkins.
Patrick?
Also known as Long Cakes 4. Alright. Midsommar. What am I feeling about this? I'm feeling lower than Hereditary for sure. Give Hereditary 7.8. I'm feeling like straight 7. Straight 7. Straight 7 out of 10.
Straight.
You know, it could have been better. It was good. Don't get me wrong. That's why it gets a 7. It gets a pass. It just could have been better, you know? Could have been way shorter. And apparently there's a longer version, which is crazy to me. 7 out of 10 duds. So Midsommar. Alright, we're gonna do rap soon. I'm excited as fuck. This is the rest of the stream, we're gonna rap. 7 Douglases out of Doug. Yes.
That's a lot of Dougs.
Alright.